Good morning and welcome to Morning Brew on Politics Social. I am Graham Hughes and it is May the 1st, 2025. It's polling day for mayoral and local elections here around the UK in various places. You might not have an election near you, but we do here in Durham. So I'm going to go straight out to vote after the show. Didn't get a chance beforehand. Too busy getting things set up, but so you know, I'll definitely be doing that. And if you want to vote and you want to vote smart, head over to our tactical voting website. It's stopreformuk.vote and type in your postcode. It should give you a recommendation. Apparently, where I am, the RefUK'd people don't have a chance of winning, but I wouldn't put it past them. So, big shout out to everyone in the chat, especially we got Chris C in there, Pygmalion, we got Martin Harrow, we got Anne Phillips, we got Scott in there, we got Graham Haller, we have got Simon Smith, Paul Ewan. We've got Paul Ewan putting a super chat in. Brilliant. Thanks, Paul. You know you're going to get demonetized. Fill the jar. Thank you so much for the super chat there, Paul, getting us started in the morning. And Joanna says, remember the other day when I said one of my friends said a game had ripped some of my music off? I had to prove to them it was different music, just 30% structural similarity. Lol. Well, that happens. Christy says, I reckon it'll be 10 this morning. Then tonight it'll be well over the 100 mark, especially if Farage takes a lot of council seats. I don't know quite what you're referring to there, but yeah, we're going to have to see a lot of the disgusting nicotine-stained man frog, the natterjack toad reflected in a doorknob, the bollocked-faced foghorn of ignorance that is Nigel Farage, the guy who, you know, he's a man of the people. If you think about the fact that don't think about the fact that he was born a millionaire, like, too much. The fact he went to a posh private school. Don't think about that too much. Don't think about the fact that he worked in the city of London. Don't think about that too much. Don't think about the fact he's been a career politician for years, milking his position as an MEP for all it was worth, turning up for hardly any of the debates and yet pocketing massive amounts of money for himself, his wife, and at the time, his mistress. Yeah. And now he's the MP chosen for Clacton, one of the poorest and most deprived areas and possibly most depraved areas in the country because, you know, they voted for him. And he's hardly ever there. Where is he? He's off in America. He's been to America dozens of times since he was elected. He's on GB News. He's telling people to buy gold, for which he receives a princely sum. They reckon he's going to earn over £1 million this year. That's from, not this year, but, you know, from his first year of being an MP. £1 million on side hustles while he's supposed to be an MP. And people are like, oh, he's a man of the people. I mean, Jesus, can't trust people. They buy Coldplay records and they voted for the Nazis. But, you know, it's polling day today. We've got 24 councils at stake. We've got 6 mayoralties and 1 pivotal by-election in Runcorn. This isn't about party loyalty today. It never really is on this channel, to be honest with you. This is about stopping something dangerous. And so head over to stopreformuk.vote before going to vote. And yeah, vote early, vote often. No, joke. That's a joke. That's obviously a joke. Anyway, so let's get on with the show. The 24 councils that are being contested are mostly English unitary authorities. The 6 metro mayoralties are all in England, I think. And then you've got this Runcorn and Helsby, which is going to be a key flashpoint because it is a Labour-safe seat. It should be an easy win for Labour. But Labour's been making an arse of themselves, especially over the last few months. They've joined in the war against trans people because, you know, why not? I guess everyone else is joining in. Let's do that ourselves. So I'm leaning more towards the Greens at the moment in my constituency, just because they're not being homophobic, and I'm leaning a bit more to the Lib Dems as well because they're not being homophobic. You know, and the reality is, RefUK'd are going to use this. They're going to frame this, even if they only win a handful of councils, or councillors, I should say. Even if they win a handful, they're going to frame it like, you know, it's the be-all and end-all, like they've just won the referendum again. And it'll be on front cover of all the newspapers. Nasty Nigel's back. Yay. Because all the newspapers are owned by billionaires who want people like Nigel Farage, authoritarian, millionaire scum, like Trump and like J.D. Vance and like Aaron Banks and Dominic Cummings and Boris Johnson and Michael Gove, these millionaires who went to private school. Everyone in Trump's cabinet is a millionaire. Some of them are billionaires. And he's talking about the fact that the price of toys is going to have to go. It's just going to have to go up. Instead of buying 30 toys for your kids, you have to buy 2. And I'm like, who can afford to buy 30 kids for the 30 kids for their toys? 30 toys for their kids. Who can afford that? Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, billionaires. That's who can afford it. And look, RefUK'd isn't a political party. It's not a movement. It's a business. Farage is the CEO. It's a way of milking money out of dickheads and being backed up by billionaires to remove our rights. He's a privately educated fucking rich kid who's never probably been to Clacton. I mean, he just turns up for a publicity tour, like, once every 17 years or something. I'm just going to turn the brightness up on my camera because I don't think it's bright enough. I feel a bit dark. Why is it dark? It's supposed to be really sunny today. It's quite warm today, but I'm still wearing my thick shirt because, Durham. He has earned over, like I say, he'll earn over £1 million from July the 4th last year to July the 4th this year. He's on course to earn £1 million. It's from media, crypto, speaking gigs, all while claiming to be an MP, all while claiming to be representative of the people of Clacton. Do you think that if Aaron Banks wins his mayoral competition, he's going to be any better? Do you think he's going to really be there for the people? Or is it just a grift? It is just a grift for these people. He's funded by dark money and backed by the same forces that brought us Brexit and Trump. And it's a bit of a shame, actually, because there was a huge backlash against the Tories, the right wing, the oil companies, the tobacco barons, the arms manufacturers, the merchants of death parties in Canada. Like, we saw that earlier this week, and we might see the same thing happen in Australia when Anthony Albanese's Labour Party go to the polls, the federal elections, first in 3 years in Australia. This weekend, this Saturday, maybe we'll see a wipeout of the Conservatives over there. They call them, this is confusing, okay? So the Conservatives in Australia call themselves the Liberal Party. Yeah, I know. Whereas the Liberal Party in Canada is more like the Labour Party. It's more like the left-wing party. It's centre-left. Labour is centre-left. And I keep trying to mention this, but like when Labour get into power, they always pivot to the centre. They can say what they like when they're in opposition, but when they actually get into power, they tend to pivot to the centre. And this isn't something new. This wasn't something that was invented by Tony Blair in 1997. They've been doing it since they first got elected in 1945. Like, they go very practical in certain aspects in a way that today would look at it and go, ooh, I don't know if you should have done that. And the worst example in the 1945 to 51 Labour government was when Indian partition happened. 1 million people died. That was on Labour's watch. Hardly anyone talks about it. We all talk up the fact that they created the NHS for us in Britain. But what the government that was in charge at that time did that, allowed that to happen. It was supposed to be a 5-year handover process, get everything in place, sort everything out, give people time to adjust to the new situation. But no, we rushed it like we did with Brexit. We rushed it and said, no, we want it done by the fucking August. And it was like, well, what? We've got 5 months to do the work that we need to do in 5 years. Yeah. Okay. And also, when Labour were in power from 45 to 51, they'd started secretly development of the nuclear bomb. So, I mean, yeah. But Labour in this country, it does look like they're not going to benefit from the anti-Trump rhetoric that's been coming out in Canada. It worked. It might work in Australia at the weekend when they have their elections, 10 people away from the Conservative Party, the Liberal Party over there. And it looks like also, by the way, in Australia, one to watch is the leader of the coalition, the leader of the Liberals over there, is his seat might be up for grabs, just like what happened in Canada. Like he might actually lose his seat. By the looks of things, he's on a wafer thin margin. I think he's on the outskirts of, I don't know, Brisbane or something. He's only got like a 1.7% majority at the best of times. So people are looking at Trump and going, right, not going to vote for them. That anyone who's aligned with Trump. And yet we've got that famous picture of Nigel Farage doing his famous picture. God, he's so ugly. Next to Trump in front of a golden lift. Standing in front of a lift, a golden lift. What? Have you seen what Trump's done to the White House in America? Like, he's made it look so fucking trashy. He's filled the rooms up with like golden shit, golden tat. He's got no taste whatsoever. It's just like, what is it with rich people having no taste, having no sense of not just no sense of decorum, but no sense of decor either. Like, they're so bad at it. They are so horrifically bad at it. They don't know how to make a room look good. They've got no idea. They just go, I'll fill it with gold. I was like, what? I want a room of gold, like fucking Bizarro. I want a room full of gold. Why? Because it looks nice. I like gold. I love the look of gold. I'm like, gold looks tacky and trashy. Gold looks like, just reminds me of the neighbour with the big dangly earrings from Birds of a Feather. What was her name? Doreen. You know, it's just trash. You know, like it's the sort of thing that Del Boy Trotter would fill his living room up with like fake gold shit because he thinks it makes him look like he's rich. And it's just, oh God, it's so pathetic. But, you know, aesthetics aside, I don't think Labour are going to benefit from the anti-Trump sentiment around the country, because I think Labour have really alienated not just some of their key voters, but their key supporters. There were loads of people who would have gone door to door for these local elections, people who would have got on the phone banks, called people up, made sure they were going to vote, you know, remember to vote for Labour. And they're not doing it. They're not doing it. They're crying out for volunteers, Labour, because people are like, look, I can't. You know, I think it's great that you're getting NHS waiting list down. I think it's great that what you're doing for the renters charter. That's fucking awesome, right? But why are you going after trans people? Like, why? Why are you doing that? Why are you banning beta blockers for trans kids but not for cisgender kids? Why is it dangerous for one but not for the other? Like, why are you jumping on this bandwagon of J.K. Rowling and her disgusting, nasty little turfs who run around because they've looked in the mirror, they don't like what they see, so they take it out on everyone else. Anyway, so let's talk about the fucking, you know, dark money funded RefUK'd. I mean, Tories are funded by dark money as well. I mean, they've got loads of money from Russia. I was reading a particularly horrific report about a Ukrainian journalist body that was given back to the Ukrainian authorities. And I want to make a content warning and a trigger warning for what I'm about to say. So please I'll give you a second to turn the volume down on your phone. But like the body came back and there were clear signs of torture. They had removed her eyes. They had removed. What kind of sick, fucked up, barbaric scum does shit like that? And do you know what? All these fucking RefUK'd voters and all these Trump voters and all these people who support Marine Le Pen in France and Viktor Orban in Hungary, they all want that for Europe. They want that to happen to you. They want that to happen to your family. They want the Russification of Europe. That's their goal. That's their end game. They want to turn us into this disgusting, horrible, barbaric third world country in which a handful of oligarchs own everything and everyone else isn't just poor. We live in fear. That's the future that the Conservatives want. That's the future that RefUK'd want. They want what the Russians are doing to Ukraine, torturing, raping, pillaging. What they're doing in Ukraine, they want to export that all over Europe. They want it to happen here. And don't think for a second it can't happen here, because people eyes wide open are going to vote for RefUK'd today, even though they know the damage that Brexit has done. I mean, they won't admit it. They'll say, oh, it's been great. And you ask them to name one thing that's been great, and they can't, of course, because nothing's been great about Brexit. It's been an unmitigated disaster. But yeah, people are still going to vote for them. In the same way that they voted for Trump, even after he mounted an insurrection against their parliament building in America. They smeared shit on the walls. They tortured police officers. 300 of the people that he released were in prison for attacking police officers. One police officer got tasered, got stamped on. You know, normally the Conservatives would be all like, "Oh shit, we're the party of law and order. We back the blue, we do." Yeah, right. Flat pack authoritarianism delivered with a pint glass. Sorry, but my experience of the Lib Dems in power is fundamental racism. That's from Paula Thomas. The Lib Dems did a good job in Liverpool when they were running the council. They did a better job than Labour did. We had the militant tendency in the 80s. They didn't do much in the 90s. To be fair, you know, they didn't get much money from central government then. But from 97 to 2010, when the Lib Dems were in charge in Liverpool, they made great strides. They really did. Liverpool really did transform in that time. And then Labour got back in 2010, and we had Joe Anderson as mayor, Chippy Tits, and he's a corrupt motherfucker. He's like Kingpin from Spider-Man. Like, he's a rotter. He's probably going to go to jail for the shit he's done, allegedly. Quite rightly, he should go to jail. But, you know, nepotism abounds. And so, yeah, I mean, in certain aspects, I think the Lib Dems have done a good job, and in other aspects, the coalition, I think Lib Dems have done a bad job. But thank you, Paula, for the super chat. I agree. Like, I think if we can pick holes in any party very, very easily at the moment. The Greens are being NIMBYs about shit. They're complaining about Labour wanting to build new power lines to power the nation as we go through the green revolution and make all of our power self-powered. You know, that we have energy sovereignty, and it all comes from renewables. That's the future that we need. We need electric cars. We need renewables, and those electric cars, like I keep saying, can serve a dual purpose: one, to get people around without pumping the air full of CO2, but also being a battery bank, being a massive, massive battery bank. The technology is there. The technology is there. It was in the Nissan Leaf. Hey peeps, any hope for Ukraine yet, or will the US just take what they want and leave it all up for grabs? Well, the mineral deal's gone ahead. Apparently, that's been signed. But I mean, a deal signed with America at the moment is not worth the paper it's written on, and everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. The US and Mexico and Canada signed a free trade deal under Trump in his first term, and he's completely reneged on everything in that. He's put tariffs on his closest neighbors. There's still a 35% tariff on China, and he's saying, "Oh, we're having a deal. We're having a deal." No, they're not having a deal. They're not having a deal. No one. The Chinese are going, "We're not talking to them. Take the tariffs off, and we'll talk." And Christy says, as for Blair and his stupid comments on net zero being achievable without fossil fuels, he needs to crawl back from under the rock from when he came. Well, we talked about that yesterday. Strange English lyricists. They want hell for everyone because they believe they'll be kings of hell. They are poor and they'll be disposed of once they've served their purpose. Absolutely. Hey, peeps, any chance? Oh, I've read that one. And Acro is in the chat as well. Everyone's giving congratulations to Acro. That's good. Christopher Bowles, Burrs Institute is a Saudi mouthpiece. Remember, they helped author the Vision 2030 plan. Just so happened to buy Tony's favorite team. Yeah. The Saudis aren't really big on, I don't know, human rights, women's rights, trans rights, gay rights, any kind of rights, just human rights in general. They're not really interested in anything except selling oil, because like 97% of their economy is tied to the oil industry. And if we stop using oil because we're all using electric cars, that's no good for them. Anyway, back to the anti-immigrant hate group that is RefUK'd. They're anti-climate science, they're pro-corporate tax dodging, and they want to wreck public services to prove they don't work, which is like, this is the Tories on steroids. This is the Tory right-wing, shrivel-eyed cult end of the spectrum. Runcorn Helsby, Labour did enjoy a 15,000 majority. That is now in danger. That's terrifying. That's really scary. That Labour could be that unpopular that quickly. This was triggered by MP Mike Amesbury's resignation as an MP after following his criminal conviction for a fray. He got into a pub fight for some reason, fucking dickhead, and RefUK'd a polling neck and neck with Labour at the moment in Runcorn. Green and I'm probably going to split my vote here. I've got 2 votes, so I'm probably going to vote 1 Green, 2 Labour. I don't care. That's something that you're not supposed to do as a Labour member. Whatever. I just think that, like, at the moment, I want to send a clear message to Labour that, we're not happy with the way that they're doing things. But at the same time, we need to keep RefUK'd out. So some of us who don't want to vote for Labour are going to have to vote for Labour. If that's the best chance of keeping RefUK'd out, you're going to have to hold your nose and vote for them, because RefUK'd are worse. You want to punish Labour for being anti-trans? RefUK'd are way more anti-trans, like orders of magnitude. And so, yes, unfortunately, we live in a system, first past the post, flawed democracy, in which you have to vote for the lesser of 2 evils. And you have to. Otherwise, you end up with Trump. Otherwise, you end up with Brexit. Otherwise, you end up with that gobshite Boris Johnson. In the 2019 election, I absolutely fucking couldn't stand the last leader of Labour. I disliked him more than this one, right? And yet I voted Labour in the 2019 election because my candidate, Mary Foy, was pretty good, and I didn't want the Tories to win a majority, and they did. They won a stonking great 80-seat majority. So I know that local elections do give people the opportunity to give the government, the incumbents, a bloody nose. However, you don't want RefUK'd running your council. They don't care. They won't turn up to meetings. Like that. This is just another side hustle for them. You don't get paid for being a councillor. You just get like, I don't know, $5,500 a year of expenses. So these guys are going to be millionaires, looking after themselves, looking after their own, bottom line. They're not going to look after you. They're not going to sort out your potholes in the road. They're not going to sort out the bin collections. They don't give a fuck. All they're going to do is gum up the system, because this is the MO. This is what Tories do. This is what RefUK'd do. This is what the people on the right do. They come into control of public services and they run them down. So people go, these public services aren't running very well. Like, I don't know, British Rail in the 80s. And then they say, okay, well, we can save this thing, because what we can do, to make it better is we can privatise it, and that'll make it better. I mean, I think a lot of people forget how fucking shit it was to try and get a phone back in the day, right? You used to get a phone from British Telecom, which was the British phone company, nationalised British phone company, and you'd get a phone, but you wouldn't own it. I don't think you'd rent the phone, and if you wanted anything done, it would take weeks. If your phone stopped working and you needed to get a new phone, and you could only use the phones that BT approved. So I don't know if you remember this, but if you get an old phone, an old wired phone, turn it upside down, and it'll either have a sticker with a green circle on it, right, that says approved for use, right? That's allowed to be used in our British telecommunication network. Or it'll have a red triangle. And if it's got a red triangle, you're not supposed to plug it in. It's just an ornament. Because you plug it in, they said, it might wreck the system. And this was stuff put in, by the government, over years, just going, let's make this system as shit as humanly possible for people. So then when it's privatized, it looks like a step up. They did the same with the trains, the same with British Telecom. And they made a bad situation worse. In 1990, we had the opportunity to create a super fast, what would eventually be a broadband network across the country. Get started. They had started doing this in 1990, They could have put fiber cables in. By the end of the 90s, we could have had incredibly fast, super fast internet like what they enjoy in South Korea, all over the country. And yet it's now 2025, 35 years later, and we still haven't got full fiber in every household in the country. Why? Why didn't that happen? Well, it was Thatcher. Margaret Thatcher didn't want one company putting in all these cables. It would have been BT, because she thought that it was not in the spirit of competition. It was not in the spirit of capitalism. Whereas in South Korea, they just saw it as like infrastructure. They saw it as critical infrastructure, not a way of making a fast buck. It would be like privatizing the roads. Nothing would get built. Like, why would you build a road to a village? Why would you upkeep a road to a village if only 15 people live there? You wouldn't, would you? So they'll fall apart. The only roads that would be looked after would be the motorways, which have tolls on them. All the other roads, I mean, you think the potholes are bad now. Why not privatize the roads? No, we don't want to privatize the roads for obvious reasons. It's the same with the postal service. Why privatize Royal Mail? It's ridiculous. It's going to be bought by some Czech billionaire. Do you think they're going to keep delivering mail to the Orkney Islands when a first class stamp is now what, 180 or something? It's really expensive. I remember when it was like 18p. God, I'm old. Is that still going to get there? Is it? I don't think it is. They're supposed to, but the quality of the service is just going to go down and down, because you got these losses that if it's a government run, if it's a nationalized industry, it's okay to take those losses because you have to provide that service. It's an essential service. We did the same with the trains. We took the trains up that went to villages. We took them up. We took up railways that went to the ports. Like, this is the maddest thing that you could possibly do. So I'll give you an example. In Liverpool, we have a port called the Liverpool shipping container up at the north end of the docks. What is it? Fuck, I've forgotten its name now. Oh God, that's not good. I still need more sleep. It'll come to me. Anyway, there's a big shipping container. So Liverpool, there used to be over 100 docks spread out along the river, right? Now there's one big dock at Seaforth. That's the name. Seaforth Docks, right? And they've got a massive shipping container there. They've got a massive port there that can hold thousands of shipping containers, and they have a railway line that goes to that container terminal, right? But for many years, the train line that went to it wasn't that great, because when you imagine, just imagine in your head, the train line coming down from the north of Liverpool, like, so it comes down, imagine it comes down, and then it hits the line that goes to Manchester and out to the wider rail network, right? It hits that line, okay? And it's got a curve in to get to that line, okay? So you can either go left out to the rest of the country, so you come down, left out to the rest of the country, or right towards the city centre, which is a dead end. It goes to Lime Street Station, and that's a dead end. And for years and years and years, the cord that linked this line with the rest of the country, the cord that turned left, had been taken up. Like, it wasn't there. So if you were in the middle of the night, you've got a big freight train full of coal or whatever it is coming from the docks, it would go down, right? It would turn right towards the city centre, towards a dead end, towards Lime Street Station. It would then stop at Chill Station and then have to go the other way, like go back the other way. They move the points, and that's how it used to. And you're just looking at this system and you're going, what? And Liverpool was not unique in that. That was done for a reason. And that was to get freight off the railways, make it as inconvenient as possible. Make you have to shunt around stuff and work around commuter trains. You don't get any dedicated rail lines, freight lines. They put rules in saying that freight wasn't allowed to be moved at certain speeds at night, etc., because it will wake people up. They put things in place on purpose in the same way that they said, oh, if one person objects to this wind turbine, we're not going to build it. They put these things in place on purpose to make that service shit, so that logistics companies were forced to use lorries. on the roads. And what causes the potholes in the roads? Lorries. The amount of damage a vehicle does to the road goes up exponentially. So a vehicle that is twice as heavy as a car doesn't cause twice as much damage. It causes 14 times more damage. A vehicle that is 4 times heavier than the car doesn't cause 4 times the amount of damage. It causes 16 or 32 times the amount of damage. It goes up like off the charts. And heavy vehicles like lorries do that damage. The other thing that does a lot of damage, double-decker buses, which drive me up the wall. I'm sick of seeing empty double-decker buses. Piss off, right? Here's the solution. Here is the solution to this ridiculous thing where we've got these empty buses driving around our cities. We have minibuses and they come every 5 minutes. That's it. Like they do in developing nations. So you have more buses, they got fewer seats in them. It's fine. You don't need a big double-decker bus ripping up the road. Save your double-decker buses for the really, really popular routes where you need loads of seats. But otherwise, give us a fucking minibus. Make them run more often. You know, if your bus comes every 20 minutes and your bus takes 120 people, you got a minibus, make it come every 5 minutes, right? And it holds, I don't know, 30 people. There you go. Sorted. Anyway, I'm going to go on now. Actually, what I'm supposed to be talking about. Oh, wow. Andrew Dixon has just gifted 10 Politics Social memberships. Oh, wow. Thank you, Andrew. Andrew's really, really generous. So welcome new members. Welcome. Welcome one and all. We've got Michael Warner, who's now a member. Rib Rascal. We've got Zenium Resonator. We've got Egma. Craig Findlay. We've got Dentiz. We've got Jennifer White. We've got Phil Nelson. We've got Alan Watkin. And we've got Steph. Welcome one. Welcome all to Politics Social Channel. You are now members. You get a little rose after your name and I'll add your name to the credits. I should do that later today, actually. I'm going to write it down on my little notepad. Credits, Graham. Credits. So, yeah. Oh, my God. Thank you, Andrew. That is really, really, really kind of you. You're all awesome. Welcome. Welcome to the channel. Better go. Cleaners should be turning up soon. Have a great day, everyone. Have a great day, Gemini, if you're watching this on catch up. Royal Mail have been using white vans with their logo, the King Cipher on them. The Gammons have lost their minds. They aren't red. Oh, yeah, the important stuff, the colour of things. Who knew that the Gammon was so obsessed with aesthetics? The Tory Transport Minister responsible at the time was a major shareholder in road building companies, says FASCIST. Yes, Ernest Marples. He was an absolute scumbag who left the country owing the taxman £2 million. Fled the country, I don't know, 2 suitcases stuffed with used £5 notes. What's that you say? A right-wing grifter? My mate's bus company do local routes with 20-seaters. Her contract was cancelled and replaced with double-deckers. They only do school runs now, says Martin. Yeah, Martin, absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Waste of resources. An absolute waste of resources. It's painful. It's painful. David said, never forgetting what happened when fools voted leave to give Cameron and Osborne a bloody nose. Yeah, exactly. Don't vote against your own interests. Those who dismantle the railway system have shares in concrete and cars. Yeah. It's like the plot of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. He just wants to demolish Toontown so he can build a freeway and get rid of the trolley cars, which is exactly what happened in LA. They got rid of the trolley cars in LA because the Firestone bought them all and then just threw them all in the desert. Just dismantled the whole system because it was, they got in with the vehicle manufacturing companies, Firestone tires. I mean, you know what? Why would a company that makes tires want to own trolley cars? Yeah. Anyway, so I'll just put a goal. Should I put a goal up? I'll put a goal up. We've got 30 minutes, right? Just any colour, any super chat, and I'll Babylon. There you go. So I'll do another 15 minutes. If you're very kind, dropping some super chats there. Oh, actually, the Butterfly Wings has just gifted another 5 Politics Social gift memberships. That is so kind of you. So Strange English Lyricist is now a member. Dr. McRib is now a member. Tokhar is now a member. So is J Mondo, and Thompson. Welcome, new members. Welcome. That is so fantastic. Thank you so much. To the butterfly wings. Thank you. You are the best. The bestest in the worldest. Thank you so much. Oh my God. Andrew Dixon and Butterfly Wings. Just that is really, really kind. Thank you. It's a really good start to the month. By the way, pinching a punch. First of the month. It is May the 1st today. Yeah, we're having our election. So back to Runcorn and Helsby. Like I say, it looks like it's neck and neck. The Greens and Lib Dems are kind of stepping back a little bit because they don't really want RefUK'd to win. Even centralist Tories are moving to block RefUK'd. There's been a huge push in Helsby and Frodsham by RefUK'd to target soft Tories, and if Farage wins this, this will be his like mandate to take over Britain. He'll be like, yes, you see, everyone loves us now. And what the right are really, really good at is, I mean, obviously being on a grift, but they're also great at taking the opportunity. And it pisses me off that like Labour and other parties are so shit at taking the opportunity. You know, when the opportunity comes along, you can bet your bottom dollar that RefUK'd, Trump, the Tories, they'll take that opportunity to cause shit, to cause trouble, to get these people in. You know, they'll take advantage of any given situation. And Labour don't seem to do that. I got a text message off Labour today saying, don't forget to vote. I got a text message. And yeah, I get it, guys. I understand that most people probably not that internet savvy, older people who tend to vote more. They might not be on the internet, on sites like this, watching stuff like this, you know? Obviously, I've got to say this, you know, not all boomers. not all boomers. Not all boomers. But enough of them. But yeah, so Labour sending a text message out. I mean, I guess, okay, it's a reminder. I don't really get many text messages these days. It all seems to be on messenger apps. But at the same time, I'm thinking, why can't you just get your shit together and get your message out in an effective way on the internet? Like Farage is he's on Gammon Box News, like spouting his anti-immigrants, anti-trans, anti-everyone, anti-humane rhetoric. He gets away with it, you know. And the Labour just don't seem to take the opportunity. Not enough swearing today from Veg Pie. You are fucking right, Veg Pie. Sorry about that. I will sort that out immediately. Thank you for my £2 super chat. And Alistair, again, incredibly generous. Thank you so much, Alistair. We have got new members, Complex, Thomas, Pete Booth. We've got Cyrus Le Charon, and we've got Mad Monk, who have all been given a gift membership to the channel. They now get their names hopefully at the end of the credits. I'll try and do that later today because we've now got another 10 members of the channel, which is, another 20 members of the channel. That is absolutely phenomenal. So big thanks to Butterfly Wings and Andrew Dixon and to Alistair Kerr for that. This is for all of you. Thank you. You're the best. You're the bestest in the worldest. This channel is so important. The more members, the better, says Butterfly Wings. Oh, thank you, Butterfly Wings. That's really kind. Not all boomers, just most of them. Shh, not all boomers. You never get into trouble. There's also some mayoral contests today to watch. The big one being Greater Lincolnshire. It looks like Andrea Jenkins, the loathsome woman who put her fingers up to people as she was walking into number 10 during, I think it was that was when half the cabinet left, didn't they, under Boris Johnson, and then he had this new cabinet put in for like a week, and then they left, and it was just a fucking clusterfuck because, what do you expect from Boris Johnson? But yeah, she's running for RefUK'd, and she's currently the favourite, and she is deeply, deeply regressive. In Hull and East Yorkshire, the Lib Dems are positioned as the only party that can stop RefUK'd. Cambridgeshire, Doncaster, west of England, Labour are trying to hold their ground. But the thing is, a RefUK'd mayor can sort out planning contracts, public contracts, planning, police commissioners, public transport. They have a lot of power. And Lincolnshire is one of the most fucked up places in the country. It's why they keep voting for Brexit and reform and all that kind of stuff. It's deep. It's kind of a regressive part of the world. It is Gamantopia. And while not everyone who lives in Lincolnshire is a gam. Our Phil, Uncle Phil, lives in Lincolnshire, and he is certainly not a gam. A lot of people are there, and so that's fertile hunting ground for the Brexiters, for the people who sold you Brexit, the magic beans of Brexit, the sunlit uplands of Brexit. Are you feeling the sunlit uplands yet? Are you feeling them? It's that to worry. And then the council races to watch. We've got the Tories are expected to lose hundreds of councillors. Their Brexit era bounce is long gone. They've been losing councillors time after time in local elections over the last few years. One of the things that gives us a little bit of hope about RefUK'd not winning too much tonight, well, today, I guess, is the fact that a lot of their votes are coming from the Tories. So that's splitting the Tory vote. As long as they don't take too many votes from otherwise Labour voters, then we might be okay. But there is a good chance that people who are pissed off with Keir Starmer and the Labour Party at national level are going to turn around and just vote for RefUK'd to send them a message. And if they do that, they're going to end up with councillors who don't give a fuck, mayors who aren't going to turn up, and possibly another RefUK'd MP who's just going to vote with the Tories for everything. Against human rights, against workers' rights, against women's rights, against trans people's rights. They're going to vote against everything that's progressive because they see being kind, gentle, peaceful, and decent. They call it woke. That's the word they use, woke. They mean decency. They always mean decency. They don't mean like people being like, they don't mean people being evil or being, doing horrible things. They mean people being decent, being kind, being generous, looking out for each other. That's what they mean. So, the Greens, Lib Dem and Labour are hoping to pick up seats from the Tories, but the RefUK'd are a massive spoiler. They're targeting working class towns. They've been around here in Durham. I live in an old pit village, and it's like terraced houses. There's a lot of poverty around here because the industry that was promised, the prince that was promised, the industry that was promised by Thatcher and her disgusting acolytes once they sacked off all the miners around here, never materialised. And I think that's the greatest crime, really. I don't have so much of a problem with them closing down the coal mines because coal is a disgusting, dirty fuel. The people who had to dig it out lived till they were like 40 if they were lucky. They died of black lung. It was horrific, a horrific job to have to do. Incredibly dangerous, incredibly bad for the humans who had to do it. And it made a lot of very sinister people very, very rich. But then it was nationalised, and it was seen as a job for life. But then, if your life's only 40 years, then I guess that's understandable. I don't have a problem with that. What I have a huge problem with is the fact that they ripped the industrial heart out of this area here in Durham and didn't replace it with anything. That was their biggest crime. They should have had a plan. And this is what the Tories do. This is what Trump does. This is what the Brexiters do. They just destroy things that are there. They take it away. They ruin it. They wreck it. And they don't put anything in its place. They never plan for the future. Because all of these motherfuckers, the Tories, Trump, Erdogan, Orbán, Le Pen, Bolsonaro, Boris Johnson, Nigel fucking Farage, they're all about one thing: feathering their own nests. That's all they care about. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. They don't care about your kids. They don't care about your parents. They don't care about the future of this country or the future of the planet. All they care about is more money for them. So they can sit around smoking cigars, feeling like they won at life, even though they've got that face. So they clearly haven't. Disgraceful people who shouldn't be anywhere near the levers of power. And yet Farage, who instigated riots last summer, in which a hotel that was housing asylum seekers, they tried to set it on fire. Women and children could have been burnt to death in that. We're very lucky that they weren't. And Farage was the one who put it on Twitter to say, he went on Twitter to say, oh, we need to ask some questions. What are the police hiding from us about the person who did this terrible crime? And when asked about it, he said, well, I got my information from Andrew Tate, a criminal, a guy who's up for charges in 3 separate countries. 3 separate countries Andrew Tate's wanted for crimes in Romania. He's also wanted for crimes in the UK. And he's also wanted for crimes in the US. And yet this is the news source that Nigel Farage trusts. And thereby, anyone who votes for Nigel Farage, they trust that as well. And if anyone out there has a mother, sisters, daughters, a wife, women in their life, and they want Andrew Tate to dictate our politics, they want our politicians to go, oh, what does Andrew Tate think about all this? Also, Nigel Farage has deep links with Russia. Deep links with Russia. He was on RT every other fucking day in the lead up to the Russian-backed fraudulendum, in which the Russians interfered like motherfuckers to get the result that they wanted, which was for us to leave the EU. Make us poorer. Make us less powerful. Diminish our power. And we gave it up freely to the Russians. Because we're like, oh no, we don't. You're right, Vlad. We don't want to be a world power. We want to get rid of all that goodwill that we've managed to generate over the last few decades of not being an imperialist fuckwit. We're going to get rid of it all. Let's be imperialist fuckwits again, but without an empire. Let's just sit on our own little tin fucking tank, making power noises at the sky. Because that's the way we want the world to see us. It's fucking embarrassing. At least one good thing that Trump has done is that he's going to he's made Britain look less demented just by being way more demented. Like I say, RefUK'd are targeting working class towns, ex-industrial areas and coastal communities. The rural red wall strategy to exploit decline and sell lies and to blame immigrants for everything. It's not the fact that the Tories have been in power for 66% of the last 100 odd years. That's not the reason why you don't have the things in life that you should. No, the reason is immigrants and possibly trans people. I don't know. Leapshin wants to do the papers. I don't want to do the papers. I don't like doing the papers. I hate seeing that stupid family's gormless faces every fucking day. Every day, that family's on the front cover of all the newspapers. It's just weird. It's just like, it's a weird obsession. It is an absolutely weird obsession. But I'll come to it in a moment. Let me get through my notes first. Paula Thomas, reminds with the basic lack of planning for replacement jobs that disgust me. Also, the Lib Dems enabled the BNP rise in Tower Hamlets. I don't know the ins and outs of the Tower Hamlets thing, but yeah, the basic lack of planning is what irks me, and I think that this is because, as someone who is diagnosed with ADHD, looking to the future is apparently more difficult for me than other people. Like I've got no sense of time, apparently. Anything in the past is in the distant past. Anything in the future is in the distant future, and because of that sort of warped perception of time, I have to try even harder to be able to think about what things are going to be like in a few months' time, or a few years' time, or 100 years' time. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why I wouldn't necessarily make a good MP, because I wouldn't be able to necessarily plan for the future in a way that other people find easy. And so I'd rather be on the sidelines and say, oh, here's what you should do. Here's what you should have done. It's kind of easier for me. And so, I mean, what I'm saying is the people who can and do plan for the future, I'm kind of in awe of them. It's like a musician who can listen to a song on the radio and then play it on the piano. Like I will play it on the guitar. I don't know how they do it. I have no idea how they do it. It's like magic to me. And so when I look at historical examples of governments in the UK or planners, engineers building for the future, I'm just gobsmacked. So a couple of my favourites are Joseph Bazalgette, who developed the London sewers, who built them with like 10 times the redundancy. Like the size of the sewers in London were not built for the population they had in the 1850s. No, they were built for the population that London would have in the 1950s or even in the 2050s, because they knew that London would grow as a city and that the sewers would have to be the right size to accommodate for all that shit, effectively. And then there was the Grand Central Railway, which was pulled up by the Tories in the 1960s. So we had the East Coast Main Line, we had the West Coast Main Line, and in the middle we had the train line that went from Manchester to Sheffield through the Woodhead tunnels, and then made a beeline down to London. And it was a high-speed railway. It was a high-speed railway built in the 1890s. What made it high-speed? It didn't have any sharp curves. It didn't have any steep gradients. It was all either in an embankment, in a cutting. It was going through tunnels. It was going over bridges. There were no level crossings on the whole length of the railway. And when it was built with speed in mind. They knew that trains were getting faster. I know the fastest steam train was the Mallard, which could go at like 100 miles an hour or something. A steam train could go at 100 miles an hour. That was kind of crazy. Someone's going to correct me in the comments over like what speed the Mallards could actually do. But trains were getting faster and faster. They needed straighter tracks that were flatter and straighter and didn't have to stop at level crossings and all that kind of stuff. And they built this track in the 1890s. And the original plan, the original blueprint, was for it to continue down to Dover, to what was going to be the Channel Tunnel. You know, the Channel Tunnel that was finally completed in the 1990s. Yeah, they were planning for that in the 1890s. They wanted a high-speed rail link from Manchester to Paris. That was the plan. That's planning for the future. And I look at what they're doing in China right now. I look at the money they have poured into the infrastructure in China, and I know it's an authoritarian regime. I know they do terrible, terrible things to the Uyghur people, the Uyghur Muslims up in the very northwest of the country in the Xinjiang region. They're not, the government are not nice people. Although I do believe that you shouldn't judge an entire country by the actions of its government, with the possible exception of Russia. But the amount of money they have poured into their infrastructure is just phenomenal. And they have, since 2008, they have put down thousands of miles of high-speed rail lines, electric. They are changing the way they do everything to make enough electricity through environmentally friendly means. They are really having a revolution with electric cars, putting in electric car chargers all over the country. And people are buying electric cars left, right, and centre. I think their cheapest electric car is where it's like $8,000 or something. It's amazing. Like the same car available over here is like double that or more, which is sad. Like I'm sorry. I know that we shouldn't be getting cheap Chinese imports of everything, but like seriously, man, like we import a lot of our cars, and I think there needs to be more cheap electric runarounds. And there isn't, because the starting price for electric in this country is something like 25 grand. It's a lot. I think it's 15 grand at the least, at the very, very least. And there's some basic models you can get for around that, but that's way out of that's more than I earn in a year. I mean, come on. For a little run around, I'm not going to pay that. But yeah, I look at China. I look at other countries around the world. Iran, weirdly, is another great example of a government it's a terrible government, but at least they're planning for the future. At least they're making sure that their population are well educated. They have lots of engineers from Iran, a lot of these very, very technical skilled jobs, and they're plowing money into it. Cuba, Cuba, I mean, again, tyrannical governments. Don't slag off Fidel Castro. You would have ended up in jail or worse. But they spent lots of money on education. They spent money on education, and that as a result, you have Cuban doctors now going all over the world to do good, all over the world. And we don't seem to have that in this country. We have short-termism. We just think about, just to get to the end of the day, and then we're fine. We'll let tomorrow sort it out for the self. And as someone who kind of lives that life, that's the way I live. That's fine for me, whatever. But I don't think it's right for the country. I really don't. And you know what? I think coming up with a plan, even a basic plan of where you want to be, is a good thing. Like, I did plan my journey around the world. It wasn't all ad hoc. I made sure I could actually do it before taking it on. But just the way that my brain works is, it was, how do I get from the country I'm in to the next country? That was it. That was the puzzle. It wasn't like, how do I get to 189 more countries? It was literally the next country, and then the next country, and the next country. Which is why now and again I'll paint myself into a corner, like I did in Q8, thinking that there was a ferry from Q8 to Bahrain, and there wasn't. And as a result of there not being a ferry from Q8 to Bahrain, I had to wait for 6 weeks to get a visa for Saudi Arabia, because I had to go through Saudi to get from one to the other, as an example. I think if I did it again, I'll do it a lot faster. But when it comes to that whole thing of like not understanding how long things take, I think that's just best exemplified by the fact that on the intro to my TV show for Lonely Planet, it's got me saying, I'm going to go to every country in the world in just 1 year without flying. I mean, that's hard enough to do flying, never mind, like, not flying. But, it looked doable. I did get to 133 countries in 1 year. So, I did that. I'm sure if I had my own boat, I could have done it. Chris C says the world needs more tolerance and empathy. Sadly, the billionaires will not allow that. It doesn't allow them to make any money, as hate does. Yeah, but this is the weird thing. Like, how much is too much? Like, when will they stop? How much is enough? When will they stop going, I don't need any more money? I think that any of these people who vote for RefUK'd or for Trump or whatever, you just got to take them aside and go, you do know the richest man in the world went out of his way to slap food out the mouths of starving children. And he said the system's not working. The system that made him a billionaire is not working. Okay. You ever applied for a race across the world on the BBC? Asked David. No, it's not. I don't know. I need a good travel buddy. I need a good travel partner. And I think that would be difficult, because the way I travel, I think I'll just drive people up the fucking wall. I'm not the easiest person to travel with when I'm on a mission. I've got to say. Acro Dave, Captain, the way it's going, most Gen Xers reach pensionable age. Retirement might just be a memory or something rich people get to do. Yeah, Acro Dave, that's what they want. They want retirement to be things that only rich people get to do. And the current workforce works for those pension funds, for the rich, for the few people who get the pensions. That's almost the system as it is at the moment. I mean, my mum's still working. Hi, mum, if you're watching. My mum still works full time, and there's other people who have age who haven't worked for 30 years. They took early retirement, full final pension, salary, and they get thousands of pounds every week to do fuck all, to do nothing. They haven't worked for 30 years. They've just made money off other people's money, other people's industry. When they talk about paying into a retirement fund, like that's the money going into the people who are retired now. When you're retired, it'll be the people who are working who are paying for your retirement, paying for you to sit on your ass and complain about all the migrants. I need to go. The tile fitter is making a racket and I can't hear Graham. Oh, I'm sorry, Chrissy. Maybe watch later. I used to read The Telegraph. I disagreed with just about every word of it, but I felt the opinion pieces were well written, and I respected that. Not now. Yeah, I mean, they are just insane. They are just absolutely bonkers. Yeah, maybe if I could find a good a travel buddy who's as nuts as me, I'd apply for a race around the world, race across the world. It'd be quite fun. Add some humor to it. I like it. I mean, I like the idea of people setting travel challenges like that. I think I'm getting to know a little bit of the culture of the places they're going to. and, you know, traveling on a shoestring, which is what I did. Okay, so voting today. If you haven't already voted, you need to go and vote. If there's voting going on in your area, use your head, not your heart. Sorry. Greens and Lib Dems are pushing leaflets saying only we can beat RefUK'd here. Labour are doing the same. I got a letter off them saying, only we can beat RefUK'd. But the thing is this: if you split the vote, Farage wins. So please go to stop the Tories. Stop. Let's change it now. Stopreformuk.vote. I'll just put the link in the chat there, and just put your postcode in there, and it'll tell you who to vote for, who you're best voting for. But yeah, so in Hull, it's very much Lib Dems versus RefUK'd. Even Labour supporters are being encouraged to switch. East Riding is a Tory Lib Dem battleground. And in Runcorn, the Lib Dems and the Greens are all but stepping aside for Labour there. And, you know, Farage, millionaire grift, he gets £30,000 a month from GB News. You know, £30,000 a month. That's 10 times, way more than 10 times. That's more than 10 times more than I would earn in a month doing this channel. And I do like hours of content. Like every week I do at least, 14 hours of content or something mad. Yeah. Like he turns up for half an hour a week, and he gets 30 grand. He gets 30 grand a month. Jeez, he gets speaking gigs from stuff like CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Committee, right wing conferences in America. He does crypto endorsements, shady affiliate deals. He's a spokesperson for gold, and he's almost never in Clacton. He's a total absentee MP. He claims to be a rebel, but he's you know, been embedded in elite circles for 30 years. And he's got this, he tells it like it is, this myth, he tells it like it is. He doesn't, he lies constantly. He's a gaslighter. He changes his mind about what he did in the past, and then that becomes the actual truth. He lied about Brexit. He lies about immigration. He lies about vaccines. He lies about energy policy. He poses as this like working class man of the people who's he goes on the Boxing Day hunt. No, I don't think so, mate. He protects billionaires and landlords. His main achievement as a politician is making sure that his fellow millionaires can get a fucking fancy bank account at Cud's Bank. Thanks for that. So if you are a millionaire in need of a bank account with Coots Bank, sure, vote for them. But if you're not, if that's not your number one strategy, your number one policy agenda, maybe vote for someone else. Maybe. He wants the NHS gone. That's the main thing. We have a recording of him saying that we're going to have to move to an insurance-based model. So only people who can afford it can get medical treatment. Of course, he's going to say that. He and all of his grotty little fuckface mates can all afford it. They can all afford it. You can't. I can't. My family can't. But that's the model he wants to go to. The American model where women die in childbirth. Where people get picked up by an ambulance and it makes them bankrupt. People get hit by a car and they are bankrupted by the charges they are given for the x-ray and then patching them back up again. That's the model. That's the future that RefUK'd wants. That's the future that Nigel Farage wants. Why? Because he's a fucking scumbag. He is an absolute scumbag. And nothing that he's ever done or said has made me feel otherwise about him. Everything he comes out with is based on, feathering his own nest or, furthering his political agenda. And then you've got all the people around him, like the Brexit lovers, Patrick Minford, Larry Elliott, Andy Wigmore, Aaron Banks, Daniel Hannan, David Campbell Bannerman, Lance Foreman, remember him? Matthew Elliott, Richard Tice, Simon Wolfston, Douglas Carswell, Robert Colville, Charlie Elphick even, went convicted sex offender. All Brexiters. All went to private school. People, hello, wake up. Wake up, hello. All those people I just listed all went to private school. Did you go to private school? No, they're not going to be working in your interest. None of them are going to work in your interest, whether it's being an MP, being a convicted sex offender, whether it's writing a column for the Telegraph, or whatever the fuck it is they do. None of them are going to be your friend. None of them are going to look out for you. They're going to look out for themselves and their private schoolmates because they all wanked into a hat together once when they were in school. So they all know each other. It's not what you know. It's not who you know. It's what you know about who you know. And these motherfuckers who all went to these posh private schools, who went to these boarding schools and did all fucked up things as teenagers, they have stuff, they have dirt on all of their mates. What do you think is going to happen? This culture of blackmail. Oh, you wouldn't want that thing you did with the pig's head coming out, would you, David? Think about it for a moment. Actually, don't think about that because it's disgusting. But Graham, my brother has become a gaslit reform supporter. Oh, sorry, Alan Murdoch wrote a message, just disappeared. Sorry, I wasn't supposed to read that. Akko Dave, I've had hard word from my doctor, and I won't live to retirement age, and that's a sad thing. That's given the way it's heading. I'm sanguine about it. Akko, that's awful. That's awful, mate. I can't. That's shit. I'm sorry, mate. I'm sorry, but you're here now. Enjoy yourself. Absolutely do things to maximize your happiness now that you can possibly do. Because look, let's face it, none of us really know how long we've got. We could, as the saying goes, we could all be hit by a bus tomorrow. And I feel like the most important thing, the meaning of life, is to have a good time and to help others have a good time. That's it. Because we're here for a good time, not a long time. So yeah, look after yourself, mate. Seriously. Leonora saying COVID definitely changed a lot of people's perspective, not always for the better, sadly. Accurate Dave says, every day might be my last. I just wish the DUP would fuck off and leave me alone. Apart from that, I'm fine. Yeah, well, it's good to know you still got your sense of humour. But yeah, the bureaucracy. I would like a little bit of heart. That's what I want. I want a bit of heart in my government. I want a bit of heart in my bureaucracy. And I want voters to vote with their heads and for governments to lead with their hearts, in love, in wanting to maximize happiness for the most amount of people. And here's the thing, right? Those grotty little turfs that were popping the champagne outside the Supreme Court 2 weeks ago, they'll never be happy. Ever. Trump will never be happy. Elon Musk will never be happy. They can never be happy. J.K. Rowling will never be happy. She will never have a moment of real enjoyment, real pleasure for the rest of her life, because they're too bitter, they're too twisted, they're too full of rage against the perceived slights against them. They could be, they could be helping alleviate poverty around the world. They could be helping people instead of hindering them. They could be building people up instead of knocking people down. But that's the choice they made. And the reason? Because they're not happy. They'll never be happy. They'll never understand what it's like to have friends, have a group that you hang out with who, are nice people, who genuinely want the best for you. They're not just hanging out with you because you're rich. And that's a trap that a lot of these filthy rich motherfuckers fall into. Michael Jackson probably being the best example. He went mad. I mean, I think he was a scumbag. I think the things that he's been accused of doing, I think he did them. But he was a child star. He was given all kinds of drugs as a kid. And he was always rich. He never knew if someone was being his friend because they actually liked hanging out with him, or they were being his friend because he was rich. I think something broke in J.K. Rowling when it was revealed that she was Robert Galbraith. That was her identity that she had built up, this trans identity. She wanted to pretend to be a man, and someone blew her up over it and said, well, you're not a man. And after that, she said, oh, right, okay, well, if I can't change my gender identity, then no one can. Fueled by bitterness and hatred. And these people don't have a community. It's one of the most important things here on this channel and with the other creatives that we all, appear on each other's stuff, and we're all, mates in real life. It's really important to me, the social side of it, more so than the politics, really. Building a community, building a group of people who are looking out for each other. And we don't agree about everything when it comes to politics. I know we don't. I read your comments, but we agree on the important stuff. What's the most important thing? It's like not being horrible, giving people all, a chance to live, a chance to thrive. They call it, the wage and the minimum wage. It's enough to survive. I don't want people just to survive. I want them to thrive. I want them to have a good time, what they want to do. And this is the thing. Like, there's a book called The Spirit Level, and it talks about the gap between rich and poor and how that is worse for people's mental health and their outlook on life than living in a poor country. Like, if you live in a poor country and everyone around you is poor, relatively poor, that's your life. That's all you know. Why would you care? But if you live in a country where the poorest have fuck all and the richest have everything, it creates resentment. It creates this idea of like, well, we could have that, but you're stopping us from getting it. And it's one of the most horrifying things that I feel when I look at the voting stats and I see so many people from working class backgrounds voting for Farage. I'm like, what are you doing? You're voting for the Lord of the Manor, to come and screw you over, which, they do. They do. Anyway, so vote tactically. Talk to your friends and family, by the way. Anyone who might not vote today, give them a call. Give them a call. Well, actually, don't give them a call straight off, because that's rude these days. Give them a texty. Say, it's all right if I give you a call, and just call them up and say, have you voted? And they'll be like, oh, well, it's just a local election. I don't really get. Just say, please, can you just go and vote? Do it for me. This is and post on your socials as well. I mean, if you've only got a few followers, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter as long as those messages are going out and a few people see them. Because this is the thing. This is the local election, and hardly anyone votes in a local election generally. Right? You might get like 27% turnout or something. Seriously, it can be that low. And so the winning team can win. The winning candidate can win with just a handful of votes. Literally 6 votes could be the difference between them winning and losing. So if you get your neighbours out to vote, and you work out what you're going to do, and you say, yeah, we're going to vote for this one and this one, it could make all the difference. It really could. So this is our moment to stop Farage in his tracks, because if he's not stopped today, he's going to go on. He's going to go on, and he's going to interfere in our politics. He's going to interfere in our way of life for years to come. But unfortunately, it does look like they are going to do quite well today. But I think it's up to us watching this. You watching this? Please go and try and do what you can, even if you've only got 3 followers on Twitter or whatever it is. Put that message out, because 1,000 people watch this video, and every one of them speaks to another 1,000 people, or 3,000 people in total. I mean, that could sway. That could actually change some of these election results. So please do get on to stop reform. I'm so used to saying stop the Tories. Stopreformuk.vote, and we will get this shit done. Also stopreformuk is also good as just a thing to see if you've got elections in your area or not. If you're not sure, just type it'll tell you if you do or you don't. Christopher Bowles, JKR's radicalization originates from a confession about her own experience of domestic violence that was then twisted to exclude trans women from relevant services. I think it must have gone. Yeah, but I mean that happened years ago. Like that wasn't that didn't happen in 2020, right? When she wrote her piece. That had happened, I think, 2 decades earlier. It was a long time. I think it might have been 3 decades. I think it might have been back in the 90s that happened. And I think that was what she used as an excuse for her bigotry. But I'm more interested in like what the catalyst was. What was the moment that she just turned from being this sort of beloved figure in the nation to just going nuts about trans people existing? And I think I have my own theory on it, which is that it happened because she was like, well, if I can't be trans, no one can. Also, don't forget to take your ID. Very important, Svax. Thanks for pointing that out. The fascists are there. The fascists are here. The fascists are at the doorstep. Okay, they're like the fucking vampires. Just don't invite them in. Just do not invite them in. Okay, so very polite vampires. You know, they won't come in unless they're invited. I'm gonna pop over to the papers just for a moment. What? We're gonna just go over here for a moment. Sorry, I've just got to update something here, because otherwise things are gonna go shit. Okay, there you go. The Mirror. First of all, there's a woman on the front cover. Huge picture of a woman with her mouth open. She's from the family. The family that needs to have pictures of her. So she had a fun visit to the Isle of Mull. So that needs to be literally half. No, not even half. That needs to be 2/3 of the newspaper top. The top of the newspaper there. Underneath, the king. Oh, so it's the same guy from the same family. There he is. Take risks, love deeply. Charles channels Dame Deborah as he hails cancer heroes. The king has praised the care, compassion, and expertise of heroes involved in the fight against cancer. We'll be talking to Mike Dix later today about how he feels about all that. In the Times here, Caitlin Moran, that's her name. She's writing for the Times, which isn't great. Charles opens up on frightening experience of cancer. We've also got the Yeoman Warder here, planting 30,000 ceramic poppies at the Tower of London to celebrate 80 years since VE Day. And we've got Biden is set to take blame for economic hit. This is an incredible story. This here is just absolutely nuts in the fifth column. I mean, please, bitch, please. Like what? Trump was handed like a what's it called? Economy that was in rude health from the Biden administration. I think they had a growth of like 2.4% or something. And now it's minus 0.3%. And he's blaming Biden for it. Okay. This is the guy who said he was going to turn around the economy on day one. He was also going to have peace in Ukraine day one as well, apparently. It's almost as though he's full of shit. Okay, solar panels on all new homes in net zero push. Yes! Good news at last, my friends. We've waited long enough for some good news. Here is the good news. Starmer rejects Blair warning that Labour's climate policy is doomed to fail. Ministers are to announce that new homes in England will be fitted with solar panels as standard within 2 years. That's the way to do it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Do it. Fucking do it. Let's go on to The Guardian, which thankfully doesn't have anyone from the family there, which is good. Got a giant spider thing at the top, which is a bit scary, so I'm going to scroll down. Don't like spiders. US downturn amid Trump tariffs triggers fears of global slowdown. Do you think? And then we've got this horrific footage, and it was really... Do you know what? It was really quite emotional watching this. I got emotional watching this. Are these fuckers cutting down this tree? Like, what a crime. What a fucking crime. Like, I know I take the piss at the Tories for obsessing over the rights of fucking statues, over the rights of women and children. But why would you do this? And do you know what? Do you know what I would do, right? If I had my own sort of paper, like tabloid, right? Tabloid rag, I would have, whenever someone does something shitty like this, I would just call them RefUK'd voters. Do you know what I mean? I would make sure that was the front cover. It would say Tory voters, Brexit voters, cut down tree, beloved tree. Anything horrible that these people do, right? I just say, they voted for that. I mean, they might not have done, but they probably did. You know, alleged Brexit voters, cut down tree. Because all these horrible things that these people do around the country, by and large, they're going to be that type. Do you know what I mean? They're going to be the ones who think that Nigel Farage has got a clever thing to say. And to do something that horrible, and just I'll spend all my time on my newspaper linking in people's minds the idea that voting Reform or voting Tory or voting Brexit means you're a horrible person. And this is the kind of thing that horrible people who vote. You know, if there's a murder, if the guy murders his wife, or someone murders, you know, a stranger or whatever, and it's nothing to do with like gang-related violence. It's just someone being a horrible fucker who should go away to jail forever. I'll point out that they vote, you know, that they on, you know, I'll go through their social media. I mean, you know, my journalists, go through their social media and find out, where their politics lie. And if their politics lay in the fact that they thought that Brexit was a great idea, I would have as the headline, Brexiteer murders 3 members of their own family. That would be the headline. And I'd get loads of shit for it. I wouldn't give a fuck. It's what they've done for years. Blaming everything on single mothers, immigrants, black people, brown people, trans people, everyone else who's a minority. Okay. Let's fight fire with fire. God, I wish I had the money. Blair Black. Blair blah blah. Oh God, man. I've got to reset my vocal circuit. Okay, right, I've been reset. Blair rose back on net zero after number 10 Fury. That is an auto cue nightmare. The word row or row. Because that headline could be either, when you just read the first 2 words, is it going to be a Blair row, i.e. a row over Blair, or is it going to be him rowing because he's rowing back on net zero? You don't know. You're just reading the words as they come up. You don't read an entire sentence, especially when it's formatted like that. You just read Blair rows, Blair rows, Blair. How'd you... Anyway, sorry about that. Tony Blair was forced by Downing Street to row back his criticism of the government's net zero strategy yesterday after furious Labour politicians warned he had given a boost to Tory and Reform climate skeptics on the eve of local elections. Yes, he absolutely had, the stupid bastard. I really wish Tony Blair would just fuck off. I want to get that footage from Time Trumpet, which was a short-lived comedy show on BBC Two. It was Amano Iannucci, same guys who did The Day to Day, Brass Eye, and The Thick of It. And they did this show called Time Trumpet, and it was taking the piss out of those shows, those nostalgia shows where they talk about, oh, remember that thing happened in the 1980s? Oh, yeah, in 1987 this happened. Oh, God, we laughed about that. So it's a show that's set in the future and looking back at events that happen now and slightly in the future. And they talk about Tony Blair being a vagrant, looking through the dustbins for the WMD. And got like this CCTV footage of this old man like shuffling around, going, yeah, the WMD. I'm sure I'll find it. He's like opening the bins, opening the dumpster, going, where's the weapons? I'm going to find the weapons. I thought that would be a fitting coda to the life of Anthony Blair. That's where his life should head. I wish he would just fuck off, find an alleyway, go rummage through the bins for his fucking WMD and leave the rest of us alone. He's a Nazi. Nazi. He's not a Nazi. Sorry. He's not a asset to Labour. He wasn't an asset to the Remain campaign. Just shut up and go away, in the words of Gavin Williamson. Number 10 Fury with Blair after he shoots Starmer in foot on net zero. Yep, PM's team not happy. I can see that. Hosepipe bans loom after dry spring and mini heat wave. King's message of hope. So it's got that bloke from the family and the woman from the family as well. Message of hope for fellow cancer patients on frightening journey. Okay, so, right. Although I do take the piss out of the newspapers for constantly going on about this one family more than anything else, I do think it's important to raise awareness of cancer. However, I will caveat that because I'm not particularly happy with the way they've gone about this because, for instance, what cancer did the king have? Can we know? Can they tell us? Can they tell what the warning signs are so that if it happens to us, we should go to the doctor? Too many men ignore symptoms, which then by the time they get to the doctors and actually get seen, it's too late. The cancer has grown to a point where it is inoperable or you just can't get rid of it. And so I would have liked a bit more information. And I know you'll say, well, it's private, isn't it? Private medical stuff. Yes. However, I think in this circumstance, they don't have to go into the nitty gritty. But if it was bum cancer, for instance, finding blood in your stool, go to the doctor straight away. Don't wait. Don't think that it was, maybe something dodgy you ate or whatever. Go the fucking doctor straight away. Because that shit is curable if treated early enough. In fact, most cancers are curable if treated early enough. However, if you lead them to fester, as cancer does, then the outcomes, the prognosis is nearly always worse. So yeah, big ups to the king for coming out, saying he's got cancer, raising awareness, starting the conversation, etc. I don't know if you think this is selfish, but I would like a bit more. I would like a bit more. I'd like to know what cancer he's got and what the warning signs were. When Kylie Minogue was diagnosed with breast cancer, she, put it out there what the cancer was, and that helped a lot of women in their 40s who had discovered a lump, went for a mammogram and discovered that they had cancer that they wouldn't have otherwise have found out had they not heard what happened to Kylie. Okay, so raising awareness is very important, but also there's hundreds of different types of cancer. Any organ of your body can get cancer, and there's different types of cancer that every one of your organs can get. Do you see the issue? Do you see the issue there? You get bone cancer, you get blood cancer, you get skin cancer, you can get all kinds of cancer, and there's all different types of cancer within those family of cancers. And this is why when people say, we're going to find a cure for cancer, it's like, I don't think we're going to find a cure for all the cancers. I mean, there might be different cures for different cancers, and one day we might find cures for all the cancers, but there'll be multiple cures. It's very unlikely that we're going to find one way that works for everything. There's going to be, I don't think, as far as I'm aware, might be wrong, I don't think there's ever going to be a panacea, a cure-all for cancer, because it's all too different. And don't forget, it is your own system going wrong and producing your own cancerous cells. And effectively, it's like, life growing inside you, but it's death. And your body doesn't react to it because you made it. It's not a foreign invading body. It's not a virus. It's not something that, your body thinks, oh, this shouldn't be here, I'm going to take this out. It thinks that it should be there. My stepdad put up with blood in his poo for 1.5 years, then got diagnosed with stage 4 bum cancer, dies 2 years later. Very sad. Yeah, we really need to stop men in particular. I know women do it as well, but men in particular from putting off going to doctors. And this is a consequence of toxic masculinity, if I'm going to be honest with you. And that idea that, I'll be fine. Real men don't cry. Real men don't go to the doctors and get checked out. Real men don't. Okay, we've got to stop this. And it's why being an anti-feminist is actually bad for men as well. Obviously, it's bad for women. It's bad for trans people. It's also bad for men. It's bad for society. Bad for all of us. Anyway, so I'll just get back to the papers for a moment. King's gratitude for community of care defying cancer. The darkest moments of illness can be illuminated by the greatest compassion there. So again, awareness raising, good. I'd like a bit more. And then the Daily Mail front page here has got the back page for some reason. I don't know why it's got the back page, but there you go. Something's gone wrong there, but whatever. King's cancer message of hope. Charles hails patients, carers and charities. Being a statistic, he says, has shown me the very best of humanity. And then don't give up on oil, Norway warns UK. Net zero risks highlighted as signs emerge of civil war within Labour over policy. This is very rich coming from Norwegians, where this year every single new car has been an EV. They haven't sold a internal combustion engine car in Norway so far this year. Okay. So I don't know what the hell's going on here. Rebel King and his tribute to Deborah Jones. Net zero risks highlighted as signs emerge of civil war within Labour over policy. There's no sign of civil war. What are you talking about? Norway will never turn its back on the North Sea as Britain has done, its energy minister has said in a rebuke to Labour's net zero pledges. Yeah, I think it's a little bit hypocritical of Norway to be lecturing other countries when they are one of the biggest oil exporters in the world. In fact, the largest percentage of imported oil from other countries to the UK comes from Norway. Met officer in Cabot shooting may be sacked despite being cleared. We'll move on from that. This is no way, not him. This is from the Daily Star. You can't be Pope, you dope, Don. Yeah, he thinks he can be Pope because he's not all there. There we go. Have Financial Times. We've got Canada's lesson for Trump-loving Tories. Yeah, distance yourself. Australia votes with economy at crossroads. We'll see what happens there. Obviously, the richest woman in Australia, Gina Rinehart, who's an absolute gobshite, is backing the right-wing scum, as she always does. But the Labour Party in Australia, just like the Labour Party in the UK, not really been showering themselves with glory. In as they say on the old Juice, there's honest government ads from the Juice. They call them the what was it, the Shite Party and the Shite Light Party or something like that. The Labour Party over there being the Shite Light. Is it Dickhead Light? I forgot what it is. Someone tell me in the chat. I don't know if you're allowed to swear. Maybe use asterisks. But yeah, the thing in Australia, though, is they have ranked system voting, so they can vote number 1 Green or number 1 local candidate, number 1 independent candidate, number 2 Labour. So if the first candidate doesn't get all those votes, doesn't get enough to go through to the second round, all those votes go to Labour. So it's a fantastic way of being able to vote tactically every time you vote. And I really wish that we had that system. My husband is having the camera next Wednesday. He did the bowel cancer kit thing. They think they found something, so a little scared of outcome for my husband. Some of the butterfly wings. Well, fingers crossed it's nothing, and also fingers crossed that if it is something, it's found early. So, I mean, you've seen. I think it's been really brilliant the way that Mike Dix has through his very funny cartoons, his Trumpton cartoons, and appearing on this channel has taken us through his journey of being treated for his cancer, and what it's like and what you have to go through. And yet he's still, still keeping he's still keeping up his chipper self, and he's not letting the cancer define him. But he is certainly making sure that the people who follow his cartoons and follow him on social media are aware of the risks that we all need to face up to, because we've cured everything else, guys. It's dementia or cancer now. That's it. Take your pick. You can die of dementia. You can die of cancer. You're not going to die of smallpox, thankfully. You're not going to die of measles in this country, at least. Maybe in America. You're not going to die of dengue fever or malaria. You're not going to die of diarrhea in this country. You're not going to die of pneumonia necessarily, unless it's a part of a complication of something else. Most people are going to be taken out by one or the other. It's why we shouldn't be spending so much money sending rockets up into space when, I agree with sending rockets up to space for science purposes, for like learning more about science, going to the International Space Station. Yeah, fine, right? Sending up tourists into space for a 15-minute jolly? No, I'm sorry, but no. I have to say, though, that the amount of abuse, and I am no fan by any stretch of the imagination of Katy Perry, but the amount of abuse that she got left a little bit of, it left me with a bit of a distaste. I felt like it was a bit too much. I felt like the pile on against her in particular was off the charts, when someone like William Shatner, who did exactly the same thing a few years ago, didn't get anything like that kind of shit. Is that institutional sexism? It might well be. And look, I'm really no fan of Katy Perry. I mean, she married She married a rapist. So I married a rapist, allegedly, in Russell Brand, who was going to court for possibly raping women. Multiple women. Multiple accusations. Allegedly. Okay, so Fall of Saigon, Vietnam hails nation's revival. Vietnam's female peacekeeping force marches in a parade marking the 50th anniversary of the end of the war with the US in Ho Chi Minh City yesterday. Ho Chi Minh City used to be called Saigon. It's now called Ho Chi Minh City. So there you go. There's the ladies of the female peacekeeping force. One of them's wearing a lot of makeup. She's got a lot of makeup on there. Actually, a couple of them have got a lot of makeup on. There's a woman who looks like Kate Beckinsale in there as well. Anyway, moving on. Kate, what are you doing? Kate Beckinsale. She just you take your eyes off of her one moment, and she's suddenly joining the bloody, I don't know, the Vietnamese army. Trump trade war distorts US economy as banks win and consumer mood dims. Import surge rocks GDP. Starbucks sales slip. Travel groups see slowdown. Wall Street volatility boost. So yeah, all not good for people who aren't millionaires, I guess. And then Shein explores production shift out of China as tariffs threaten their London listing. So this is Trump, causing trouble. And there's a story over here on the left, this little story here. Malt whiskey makers over a barrel with Trump tariffs. Donald Trump's onslaught has compounded the woes of Scotland's 150 plus malt whiskey sellers, triggering a wave of activity from equity rises to outright sales. The 10% tariff regime has layered more uncertainty on the sector, accounting for a quarter of Scottish goods exports that faces its third downturn since the 1980s. Not great, not great. Don't forget, Scotch whisky, it comprises a huge chunk by value of our food and drink exports in this country. It's almost a quarter of our food and drink exports is just Scotch whisky. That's how valuable that sector is, and it needs protecting. Vietnam, the fight that Bond shit and pants avoided. Yes, the tangerine terror, the apricot Adolf, the Cheeto Voldemort. He didn't. He didn't go to Vietnam because he was rich, and his dad said he had bone spurs or something. Rich kids don't die in wars. Di, thank you very much for the £10 super chat. Just a tenner for sod all, really. Time to wrap up so we can get back to listening to Van der Graaf generator in the garden with appropriate herbal assistance. Oh, thank you very much, Di. That's very kind of you. Okay, so I am going to wrap it up there because I've gone 39 minutes over time. Even though I didn't make my super chat target, I'll let you off this time. It's fine. It's fine. Anne says, I just said to my boys, if I ever got dementia, no one will even notice. Yeah. Sean says, just send Musk and Trump. Humanity would level up. That's quite funny. Gillian says, watching my mum with dementia gradually slipping away at the moment. The progression has slowed a bit by a new drug, but grateful for that. Yeah, I mean, my dad was diagnosed with dementia 9 years ago. And, for the first sort of 4 years, he wasn't quite there, but at least he was mobile. He was up. You could get him in and out of the car. Could take him out to the Sefton Park or to Wales or something. But now since COVID, since lockdown, he's been bedbound in the living room at my parents, and it's really sad because you lose them twice. And it's sad on the people around because most of us are of the opinion, I think, that we want the best for our family members, and that's not necessarily what's on offer in the society that we have at the moment. Retirement homes are not great. That the private ones are just money laundering facilities by the looks of things. They make shitloads of money and they take people's homes off them. I think that system needs to be overhauled. I'd like to see more retirement villages, places where people can, have that, be looked after, but also have a sense of community still. Because even the most, even when someone who has dementia is non-verbal and they can't express themselves anymore, they probably don't recognize you or know who you are. I mean, sometimes there's just a little flicker in their eyes of recognition, and it means the world. It means the absolute world, or just a smile. Sarah says, Graham, is Rachel okay? Wondering it this way, didn't put a show on last night. Yeah, Rachel's okay. She's on holiday at the moment. So it was just sort of interrupting our holiday if we did a show, so we didn't do one. But yeah, hopefully she'll be back on maybe on Friday or next week. So yeah, she's okay. Sean says, my mum's starting with vascular dementia. It's more worry they will do something dangerous, like taking her pills 3 times. Yeah, and that's an issue as well. Wandering off. You have to lock the front door. You've got to do things to make sure that they don't do something to themselves by accident, like forget they've taken their pills, so they take them again. It's a lot of stress. I wouldn't wish dementia on anyone. I also wouldn't wish caring for someone with dementia on anyone. It's a difficult job. It really is. I wouldn't wish dementia on my worst enemy. Lost my mum to it last year. Devastated, says Andrew Dixon. I'm sorry for your loss, mate. And yeah, it is a really, really shit way to go. Society should be judged on how they treat the newborn and the elderly. Yeah, Leanne, absolutely. And we should be coming together as communities to help people as much as humanly possible. But you see these people in America who are obsessed with the fetus, We've got to save the fetus. And yet, once the baby's born, they don't give a shit. Anyway, I will head off now. So thank you so much for watching. I'll be back at 6 o'clock tonight to do a Hughes of the World. Just a little side series that I'm doing on this channel for shit and giggles because it's fun. And I hope you can join us for that. I'll be talking about Dominican Republic, which is three quarters of the island of Hispaniola in the Caribbean, next door to Puerto Rico and also next door to Haiti, which it shares the island with, and thereby making it next door to Cuba and the Bahamas. Please join us for that interesting place. It's one of the first places that Columbus went to, and we can talk about the crimes of Columbus on that, which will be fun, I guess. So that's at 6 o'clock till 7 o'clock tonight on Hughes of the World. And Mike Dix and I should be doing a special election broadcast tonight as the results come in. However, we are aware that the local election results, some of them won't come through until the next day. So we are very, very likely to just do the mayoral stuff. But really, it's all about the Helsby and the Runcorn Helsby election, the by-election there, the results of that coming through. So we'll be talking about that. I don't think we'll be going too late into the night, but that'll be starting this evening. I think probably 10 o'clock we'll start that tonight. And we'll go on as long as, I guess, you can put up with us and we can continue going on. So I'm already still knackered from the other night staying up for the Canadian election. But that was a joyous occasion. So we've done in the last year, we've had 3 staying up all night election specials, haven't we? And I think I did one for the local elections last year, I think. I can't remember. I definitely did one for the general election. And then one for the American election. We didn't turn out too well. And then obviously we did the Canadian elections earlier this week, and we might do the Australian elections on Saturday. Watch this space. But yeah, hopefully I'll see you at 6 o'clock. If not, I'll see you at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning for another morning brew. Don't forget we're gonna have a chat with Phil at 1 o'clock tomorrow. On the agenda, we'll be going through the local election results and what it means for Labour going forward. Just like to say thank you so much for watching. One little thing that I try and remember to ask. Give us a like, please. And consider joining the channel if you haven't already. We've got loads of members of the channel. Got Kate Smith, Sarah Davis there. We've got Andrew Ray, many others. And Andrew Ray's asking, is Nasty Jacob Fleece Smug going to get back in the North Somerset by-election? I don't know. I don't know if he's running. I don't know if he's standing, but if he is, I hope not. I really hope not. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for the lovely messages. Thank you for the super chats, obviously. And until next time, I'll say thanks for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.